Yesterday I was showing to you all guys a preview of the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut, and today I will be showing you all the stats of what may be the best car ever released into any Asphalt 9 version, in this case in the Asphalt 9 China version first. Knowing the stats will also help to understand the context of this car, like for example why it was released in Asphalt 9 China first, which I will try to explain based on what it's possible to deduct, because some things are a bit more complicated than they look at the first sight. With nothing else to ask, let's begin with today's video, where we will finally see the official Absolut stats and the implication it will have on both Asphalt 9 China and the global version as a whole. Well guys, that's it. What you all guys can see on screen right now are the official Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut stats for the Asphalt 9 China version, which makes it the fastest car ever released into any Asphalt 9 version ever. With a rank of 5664, is the highest ranked car as well. By all kind of means, this is the ultimate definition of a game changer, but these stats only confirm that this car will never ever make it to Asphalt 9 global version. Why? Well, let me explain. Well, it's all about balance, really. In Asphalt 9 Global, Gameloft does really try to make a balance between all the cars. That's why overall they try to introduce not massively broken cars, which could result in a meta completely dominated by one or two cars. The Hennessey VENOM F5, for example, is incredibly fast, but the Jesko is not much slower, and same goes to the Bugatti Bolide. There is not a massive difference between all of them. Asphalt 9 China, however, has a completely different approach, where the devs can develop completely different features and decide the path of the game in a completely different way. That's why it often leads to crazy items like the Golden Stars, which basically allows you to fulfill all the blueprint requirements for one star at once, or in the cars area, for example, some cars which are way more broken than they could be in the global version, as it's the case of the Bugatti Bolide, which was noticeably improved compared to the global version. They don't really care about Asphalt 9 China meta as much as they care of the Asphalt 9 global one, but to that we have to add something else, the licensor requirements. Some brands don't just give their cars for free, just like that. Aside from the fact that they ask for some kind of economic value in exchange, they often add some performance requirements for their cars. For example, why do you think that Ferrari decals are so boring in Asphalt 9 Global? Because that were the only ones that Ferrari itself approved for their cars to have in the game. Why do you think most of the Ferraris in-game are that slow? Because Ferrari wanted their car's performance to be as close as the real-life one as possible, hence the low top speeds. And of course the Koenigsegg Jesko, as you may be guessing, was no exception. Do you think that Koenigsegg will allow a speed gap on what they claim to be their fastest car ever created? Of course not. Same as the Bugatti specifically asked the Chiron 300 Plus top speed to be the exact same one as the production version of that car, Koenigsegg would only allow their car to be in the game if the car had the top speed they said, in this case 548 km per hour, which is absolutely crazy but also a huge inconvenience, because if the Absolut ever arrive to global version with that stats, assuming that Koenigsegg doesn't allow them to be reduced, it will simply obliterate the game meta. And that's why I think that precisely because how broken it is, I think that the Absolut will never ever arrive to the Asphalt 9 global version. Because Asphalt 9 China, as I explained at the beginning of the video, was the only version where the true ambition of Koenigsegg stats will make a bit more sense to be added. Because there will be no way that such a complete game breaker could ever be added to the global version without completely obliterating the game meta. So yes, all my bets are placed that it will remain as an Asphalt 9 China exclusive car, unless global version developers manage to convince Koenigsegg of adding it to the global version on a way that it still remains as the best car of the game, but without such a huge margin. I mean, they really went completely crazy all in with the Absolut. The car has a really good nitro for such a massive top speed, a really good acceleration as well, and sure, the handling may not be that insanely good, the drift could be, a bit wide, but still, man, it has a drift speed of 547 km per hour, if done properly. It's just over for any other kind of car present in the Asphalt 9 China version. If you own the Absolut, just completely forget about everything else. You just completed the game. There isn't any other car in the world that could beat the Absolut in terms of real-life performance, so there won't be any new car in Asphalt 9 China capable of beating it as well. That's the final dot in Asphalt 9 China. The Absolut won't be cheap or easy to get, but it will represent the final achievement, after which completely anything will be just pointless, as you will be owning the best car already. I don't want to hear anything, I don't want to listen to anyone, it's just over. Whoever gets the Absolut will finish Asphalt 9 China. I would be lying if I say that I'm not jealous of those who place the Asphalt 9 China version, but the truth is that something deep within me still thinks that someday the Absolut will manage to appear in Asphalt 9 Global, maybe with not completely crazy stats as the Asphalt 9 China version, but still as the final king. I have hope even when the odds are less than 1%, I think, but now it's your turn, guys. What do you think about this car? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe in order to not to miss anything about Asphalt 9, and I will see you really soon, as usual, with much more content. Goodbye, guys. My body,